Gotcha.
Hey everybody, Dr. Zach Watkins here from the Livewell Clinic, and I wanted to, can you guys close the door for me? Sorry. We want to, first of all, welcome to the almost end of the new year. I hope everybody's Christmas was good and time with family. I know it can be stressful and overwhelming, but we're almost through the end of the year, so it's good to all see you. So we want to touch briefly on, I'm here with Melissa and Christina, and we'll be chatting here soon, but we want to touch briefly on detoxification and the importance of what we call metabolic detoxification. Why do we do it? Why is this even important? Does it even matter? Can I just drink a tea that makes me go to the bathroom 5 times a day? Is that good enough? I want to stress this more and more because I don't think there's enough importance placed on detoxification. So I wanted to show a couple things and what goes on, and hopefully this resonates with you. And you can see this. So, perfect. This is our liver. So most of our detoxification occurs in the liver. And although it does occur in our lungs and our kidneys, especially our skin, what I want to show you, what happens is when the body pushes blood through the liver, about 6 liters every minute, it happens in a couple parts. So you're taking a toxic substance here, and it's going through this first part of the liver, and what it does is it takes something kind of nasty and it uses a bunch of things like nutrition and vitamins and makes this compound less toxic, so our bodies, this is the second part, so our bodies can get rid of it through the bowels and through the kidneys. And that's the genius thing of it, and it seems like it'd be that simple, but the problem is a lot of it that can be caught up in this middle part when we detoxify. We think about, okay, toxins, and our body just gets rid of it, that's great. What happens is, if we don't have this middle part, I call phase 3, there we go. This is super heavy for the day after Christmas. But what happens is, things that can get stuck here can actually become even more toxic than they originally were. So a bad thing comes through your blood, through your liver. Your liver's job is to take the bad thing, make it not as bad so we can get rid of it. Everybody's happy. The problem is you need a healthy dose of nutrition in this part, which is usually typically your B vitamins and a lot of minerals. You need a lot of nutrition in this last part, which is in the form of protein and amino acids. And almost the most important part is this middle, where things can actually get stuck. And this is where your body relies on things like antioxidants. Vitamin C, glutathione, I don't know if you've heard of that. And very, very important. What can happen is with people, they say, well, if I just detoxify, sure, I drink a green smoothie, I drink a tea, I'm on the toilet 8 times a day, and it's all good, right? The problem is you're just losing water, by the way. That's not good. What happens is you can have blockages in these different areas of the liver. So you may be deficient in things like B vitamins and minerals. Well, then you can't take this bad compound and move it through the way the liver cleans. You may be very deficient in protein, or you don't eat protein. And the problem is with that, again, you can't combine things in a way, that bad stuff, to get it out through the bowels and the kidneys. And even worse, you can be very deficient in antioxidants, which most people are if they have a low diet on fruits, vegetables, things like that, or even increased stress. Now your toxin actually becomes more toxic. And so people who maybe try to detoxify themselves or use detox nutrients and don't have an adequate balance of these things, you actually could be making yourself worse. And that's not great. There's a saying in our world called the solution to dilution. The solution to pollution is dilution. So if your body is kind of stuck in these different areas, you get a lot of things kind of can say backlogged in the front of the liver. And the way the body combats all that is you store more fluid. So when you store more fluid, you notice increased weight, increased blood pressure, and obviously those are not favorable. But the other thing that happens is, and I'll touch on this, is that you can start storing these things in your own fat tissue. So another thing people say, man, at the end of the year, start of the new year, big thing is they want to lose weight and they want to lose some pounds. I would almost argue, I probably would argue if you're lucky, that trying to lose weight before you detoxify is even worse for you, because you're already not cleaning house appropriately. And then you go to the gym and do your sprint rounds and all the crazy stuff. You will start to dump toxins from the fat tissue that you store into your body, which sounds great. The problem is your filter can't keep up. So when you can't keep up, you're back to where you started and you're recycling those toxins and you're storing it back in the fat tissue. So the point of kind of mentioning these things is to say that we value, and I know I value, detoxifying, if you will. Detoxification is not necessarily a once a year deal. We are actually doing it daily. If you're breathing, you are detoxifying. Your livers are detoxifying, or your lungs, your liver is detoxifying your lungs, your skin. When you sleep, if you get adequate sleep, your brain detoxifies and cleans. So we're always doing this. We just tend to put maybe more stress on different times of the year that can be more important for us or easier to do, or even when there's more motivation, especially the beginning of the year. I personally like to think of it in quarters, first, second, third, fourth quarters. To kind of help me, that's just how I plan things. But what we look at through a detox program, again, is it's not about going to the restroom a lot. That's just losing water. You want to use things that help support the liver, especially the liver, cleaning the blood and helping you carry junk out as best as possible. So we utilize things that have a lot more supportive, let's say B vitamins and minerals for this first part. Added amino acids, that's why we use more powdered based things, and that's for your second part. And then there's some components that are antioxidants to kind of protect you as you're trying to clean house. You're kind of kicking up dust and you want to make sure that we're not damaging anything when we do that. So I really encourage you to think as this time of the year, detoxification, not just once a year thing, new year, lose weight, that's all important. But the big thing is that we're always doing it, and can we be mindful of it? And this is just a good time of year because we're reminded on how we want to make some changes and support ourselves nutritionally. So I challenge you to think how we can always detoxify. That's why it's important that when we work with patients, we're using nutrition, we're using supplementation, not just to cure or fix something, but to get your body to work better and more efficiently. So detoxification being a big component. And if you're not detoxifying or eliminating well, everything upstream from this is not going to work well, namely your GI tract. And when that doesn't work well, that's going to start affecting things like your brain health and your hormones. So encourage you to think about this, but in a bigger sense than just, I got a $6 tea offline or online, and I can use that to support this process. We take it seriously here, but we also know that we see great things, and I really do think that we can help support people's overall burden of inflammation, but give them that kind of either at least yearly, if not quarterly, body cleaning to make you feel better, to kind of prep for maybe the new quarter or for the new year. So I'm a fan. We're a fan here. We support our patients doing this. So we kind of want to touch more on that. But did you want to add some things?
Well, yeah, I was just going to... Hello, everybody. Melissa and I are waiting in the aisles here to share as well. But Melissa actually went to grab a kit because, as you know, we're getting ready to offer an opportunity for a lot of you, hopefully, to do this in community with other people. Mm-hmm. So as I was watching this, and I learn something every time I see him draw a new picture, as I did today again, this idea that if this isn't working, then it's actually worse. Like Melissa and I went, oh, that's actually an interesting way to think about that. But what I was hoping you could do super quick is talk about the components of our actual kit and how they address this 1, 2, and 3 so that people know when they're drinking or taking these supplements, what parts of this process they're addressing. Yeah. And then as a second part, can I have a part B?
Yeah.
Okay. Is in our detox process, in this kit that we use with our patients, it also, you change the way you eat for a while. So you focus on shakes and smaller amounts and one full meal. And so maybe you could talk about how that way of eating, I guess,
supports that.
Supports this. Yes, thank you.
All right, well, if
so
I forget, tell me.
I will. So here is the 2-week detox.
Yeah.
Which,
and you can hang them.
Yes. And do you want me to just hold it like Anna?
Yeah.
I'll just hold it
well,
like.
you can hold it. This kind of like when I was touching on is when we see patients, they're not used to eating a certain way. They're used to eating maybe more inflammatory, and I can be guilty of this too. But maybe fats that promote more joint pain, foods that are a little more toxic that actually will make you store more water. So when you're seeing kind of fluctuations of the scale, more than likely it's due to the water you're storing, not really fat. But so the kits that we kind of developed and use do address these 3 areas. So like I was saying, think of these as gates. If you have gates and there's these little small doors you gotta let, small gates, holes you gotta let through. Think of a log jam, like you're going down a river full of logs, and as they try to undo that, they let go of a log at a time, and then stuff starts to move a little bit better. You got log jams at all these different sites. So if you don't have enough, let's say, B complexes and minerals to help extract energy and support the nutrition that you ate, you're going to be stuck here, which means things backlog, which is probably why a lot of people can feel nauseated and not feel great and headaches because they're trying to push it too hard. The powder form we use are nutrients that are more protein-based, so amino acids, that actually help conjugate or help bind kind of the final product so that you can get rid of it from your body, so this doesn't just magically leave. So that's through your gut and through your kidneys. And then there's some components in the capsule forms that are antioxidants. And these can be veggies and things from fruits that are going to really protect the liver going through this toxic kind of change as you eliminate. So even though it's the same for everybody, it's in a way that is safe, it's gentle, everybody responds differently, but we want to protect this process as you go through this elimination phase. The reason we use diet is you're kind of giving the body a break. Mm-hmm. You're kind of giving it a rest to say, okay, I've got so much inflammation and sugar and things that cause more stress and strain on the body. The more stress you make, the more you steal away from the nutrients you need to actually detoxify. So it's kind of hard to play 2 games at once. So we use things to help support an anti-inflammatory diet, less refined foods, less junk, basically is it from the ground. And that gives your whole body a break. Mm-hmm. It improves your stress response, but also it allows your body to kind of focus and say, I'm going to prioritize on eliminating from the liver, not just try to do 5 things at once. So the point of the diet is not to starve people out, it's to calm the storm a little bit, calm the waves so that the body can do its work here and allow you to repair and to regenerate.
So the food part is affecting what's going in, right?
Yeah. Right.
And then there's shake powders and supplement packs. Mm-hmm. The shake powders are vitamins, minerals, maybe number 1 stuff, and then the capsules number 2 and maybe 3.
It's all the same.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
So all of them have all the parts.
Have parts with all these.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, we want to make sure everything's covered in a convenient form, easy, simple.
And it is super easy.
Yeah.
That's one of the things that the feedback, and Melissa's going to talk a little bit more about kind of patient experience and feedback. But more than one person has said to me that 2 weeks actually was maybe hard because I was getting used to some new things, but super easy from a planning standpoint. Because we're planning 1 full meal, shopping is easy. Most of what I'm consuming is in the kit, in the box. So I've gotten a lot of good feedback that way. Mm-hmm. All right. Yeah. Any questions? Did you see any questions?
I can't see.
People are watching, but no questions. So that must mean you're being super clear. I'm sure that's what it means.
Say that. Yeah.
All right. So Melissa next is going to talk a little bit about kind of what patients have told her. She is, out of everybody in the clinic, probably the one that touches patients with the most frequency because you have a lot of interaction with them, and one of the big ones is just right after they finish the detox. So we thought you might be curious about the feedback you get, what they like, what they experience, so that you know what to expect.
Yeah. Hi everybody, my name is Melissa, I'm the health coach here. So I do all of the follow-up detox visits with our patients here. So I do get a lot of feedback as far as kind of how it went and what people notice. And some of the more common ones, people can kind of have a little bit of a unpleasant first couple of days, maybe headache. So we really encourage people to make sure they're drinking half their body weight in ounces of water. It's going to be really important for kidneys, flushing things out like Dr. Zach mentioned, so that there are going to be less side effects from that. So the diet component that Christina had spoken about, so you're going to be eliminating things like gluten, dairy, sugar, soy, and corn. So really just trying to get off processed foods and stick more with kind of those whole-based foods from the earth. Grilled chicken breast, fish, salmon, mahi-mahi, whatever you like. Turkey, you can do some ground beef obviously in there, and then really focusing on lots of veggies. You can do some quinoa if you'd like, and some grains like that.
Fruit, I think, where's that?
Quinoa's okay.
No, fruit.
Oh yeah, and you can do some fruit, but wanting to keep it minimal obviously just because it's sugar, so wanting to eliminate some of that sugar, right, that inflammatory stuff. But yeah, most of the time people come back. Most of the time people come back and they say things like their stress is the same, but they're handling it better. And I was telling Christina and Dr. Zach this morning, that's a comment that I've heard repeatedly from patients, and I just think this is true. This is what good nutrition does for your body, is that it allows you to show up as the best version of yourself.
I want to mention that fun fact, if anybody wants to know, that stress hormone that we make is actually converted in certain pathways in the liver. So when these are dammed up and we're under stress, you actually are causing more backlog of stress hormones, so you're in this flight all the time. So when they do handle stress better, it's probably just a fact that you're allowing to process this stress response hormone release better, which is another more reason to think about this. And when you're still eliminating, not just when you're supporting, let's say we say toxins, your own hormones are toxic if you have too many. So this is still a great way to help eliminate.
Yeah, that's good.
Anything you would tell a first timer? Somebody thinking, because we have a lot of non-patients
We
that
will,
have been asking.
yes. Make sure you listen to your body. If you are feeling not well, slow down on the shakes. I mean, that's the biggest thing, is that, yes, it's called a 2-week detox, but that is based upon the person and the individual in the body.
Yeah.
So, I mean, above all else, make sure you're really listening to your body. Some patients keep a log, which I think can be helpful just for kind of building awareness. I've had some patients that, they cut out maybe gluten for the first time. And even if it was only 2 weeks, they might have had some really noticeable changes that if they hadn't really tracked and paid attention, they might not have caught. Mm-hmm. So I think that can be really helpful. You're already kind of doing a lot of the work with, with just trying to pay attention to how you feel anyway. So I think tracking like that can be really helpful.
And then one last question, then I can go over the nitty-gritty with people. But what do you think, based on your experience, what's the value of doing this as a group?
It's so much more fun, you guys. Just having that support and having team members that are doing it with you, it makes it a lot easier and more fun. And I think that support is huge, the support component. Mm-hmm. Because 2 weeks isn't long, but usually by the end of it, you're kind of over the shakes. You're ready to just go back to real food for a bit. And so I think the support is huge.
Keep in mind, you're always, like I said, you're always detoxing all the time.
Right.
And we just don't know it. We just don't think of it. I think what makes it stand out is we're putting in now 110% effort, whereas before we have to think about it. Mm-hmm. And that's what's more hard is, yes, the nutrition and stuff, that's just to help this process, but I think diet is what's harder for some people to put that extra effort in. So, but don't think of it as this is just a 2-week torture I go through. It's more, I'm accelerating what I already do, probably in a more effective and efficient way.
Yeah.
And the side effects and things that sometimes people feel, I get them when I give up my beloved coffee. And headaches are awful, but I love it because it's like, this is what my body needs to help kind of reset. So people, if they have any kind of effects that they feel, are not necessarily bad. So be encouraged. It just means your body either needs to slow down a little bit, like there's too much trying to get through, or that's where we work with you to tell, do we need to maybe speed one thing up and slow other things down?
Right.
Because it's all good and it's not going to hurt you. It's just a matter of working with you where you're at, and can you put the steps in place to be successful in the end. So
yeah. Well, and I mean, to that point too, I do have patients that come back and they say, I'm sleeping through the night for the first time, and that might be just balancing that blood sugar with the diet, with the shakes, and I mean, things like that. They can come back and say, I'm not waking up at night anymore to go to use the bathroom, which is a low blood sugar thing. Yeah. So I mean, different effects can really be helpful.
Yeah.
All right, Christina.
Okay, yeah, so what does all this mean and why does it matter? Well, I know I always call this spring cleaning for the gut. Now, I don't mean to imply that you should only do this once, but to me, it's that reset, that restart. And we know from experience, and Melissa echoed this, is we all do better when we do things together, even if it's just even a spouse or even a significant other. So this is just taking that one to the next level. So we are going to be detoxing as a group here at the clinic, and I know a lot of team members are going to be there right along with you. And so we wanted to give you a sense today of all of those different supportive elements that are going to exist in January, and to give you a sense essentially of what you're signing up for when you decide to do this with us. So to begin with, you have Melissa. When you pick up your kit, so you will, and I'll say this again at the end here, but you'll just call the office and express interest in participating. And they will connect you with Melissa for a quick 15 minutes of your life to review the contents of the kit, talk a little bit about how it works, what the structure of it is, a UA, an in-body composition measure. Urinalysis, UA. It's like the internal jargon. Yep. I think everybody knows what that is, but maybe not. Urinalysis, in-body. We have one of those machines that you put your hand grips, I guess those are, and it measures
body fat percentage,
water,
extracellular water,
and intracellular water. I sound so smart today with these big words.
Yeah.
And so then,
if you come to the post, we'll recheck that.
Right, correct. So we'll do an initial measure of both of those things, and they will be rechecked at the end, because we feel at the clinic that reevaluation is an important component, that we want to know what we've been able to accomplish. And so we want you to know you've been successful in a number of different ways. So you'll pick up your kit, 15 minutes spent with Melissa, all the information, questions answered, and then you will have an opportunity to reconnect with her throughout the month for support. So we have a detox community group on Facebook, and I've already seen some of you ask to be let in, but in order to be in that group, you actually have to participate actively in the detox. So we may have held back on approval until we made sure that you were in the group and actively signed up. And then we will be visiting with you once a week on Wednesdays from noon to 1, and that will be an open time for you to call in and answer or have your questions answered. The other thing we noticed too, back to the Facebook group, is last time we did this, it was a really good opportunity for people to share ideas, share recipes, talk a little bit. I always think people feel better if they say, this is really hard for me, and someone else says, me too. And suddenly they don't feel like they're the only one struggling. So I think these opportunities for community with Facebook and with these weekly calls will be an opportunity for you not only to get questions answered, but also experience that level of support. We will also have Facebook Live 2 other times, one on January 9th and one on the 23rd. And we'll talk more specifically about different elements. So one might be, how are you doing? Here's what you might be feeling right now. The 23rd might be, now I'm done. What's next? How can I continue this nutritionally, or maybe even other ways to detox throughout the year? I think Melissa, has some of those things decked up to talk about. And then finally, February 4th, we want to celebrate with you. So we want to get everybody together and just really acknowledge what you've accomplished, what you did, and just have an opportunity to have you at the clinic here for an hour or so to celebrate with you. So first step, call 515-279-9900. 515-279-9900. That's the number for the office. But call, reserve that kit, have the appointment scheduled with Melissa. Just 15 minutes where you can come in and not only get information, but also some of those initial measures that she was reminding me of from the corner of the room. And then we do also want to encourage you in a couple of different ways. So we have some things up our sleeve. At your level of engagement or your active participation throughout the process will earn you some opportunities to win some goodies. So we have a gift card we're going to give away. We have, I think as of today, an Apple Watch added to the mix, which I think is super fun. I have one and I like it. So we're going to find ways to just encourage you and recognize you for the effort that you've put into this whole process. So there'll be some drawings and other fun things that we'll pepper in throughout the process. This is going to take place the entire month of January. One of the things we learned last time we did it was that not everybody can start and stop on the same day. So this will be kind of a rolling start. If you're traveling for the holidays, you want to start the 7th, then start the 7th and plug in to that next call or next Facebook Live to the extent that your schedule permits. So for either one of you, did I forget anything big? Oh yeah, details. We are going to have a little bit of a discount on the kit. It's 15% off the entire month of January, I think, which brings it to just under $170. And again, as you think about that being part of your food, it actually ends up not being very costly at all, because that to some extent is what you'll be eating and drinking for that 2-week period. So that is obviously a good deal in all kinds of ways.
Yep.
Anything else?
No, I think most people that will see this know that the new year, there's always some kind of reset going on, and there's always some kind of changes that want to be implemented, which is always great if they last longer than 2 weeks, hopefully. But at the same time, I think hang on to those changes, and I think there's not a better way to kind of support those than doing kind of a detox program. A lot of people do this anyway. They think, well, I'm going to go through it on my own, and then I'm going to start a workout program. But like I said, I think this is where people get stuck, is they do probably start to lose weight kind of fast, and their body can't keep up, which actually means they store more weight because of all the toxicity they've got. So if you're going to work out and set a new year and just try to feel good to begin with, take advantage of those feelings, but think about kind of doing a reset, a detox program. Again, you're always detoxing, but this is something we want to be focused on for 2 weeks, and with Melissa's support, we guarantee you large results.
Would you say, back to the workout comment?
With Melissa's help.
Right.
Yeah.
Would you say, back to your workout comment, that people should take it easy on exercise while they're doing this, or maybe start their new exercise regimen after they finish, or what would be your recommendation there?
That can be a long conversation, actually.
Okay. Sorry.
I would say if you haven't started, you should always start a workout program as long as everything's safe with you. I think if you're at least getting some walking in and some stretching.
Don't run a marathon, maybe.
No.
Okay.
I tend to do this, but that's more because there's benefits with ketogenic diet, and that's a different story. But I would keep it slow. Still, don't find a reason not to work out or exercise or move. We should say move. Yeah. Don't even say exercise. Always do that. Work this with it. And if you're hungry, there's options in here that allows you to eat and still feel good, but not that you're just not doing a water fast or something.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. So next steps, I mean, we've given you a lot to think about today. I know a lot of you will be watching later, even if you're not watching live. And so we encourage you to be part of what we're doing. I'm going to be in it too. So moment of accountability for me. Yeah. And so we look forward to meeting you if we've not met you before and getting to know you a little bit. And then for those of you that are existing patients, we encourage you to have an opportunity to take a reset or restart a little bit as we move into the next year. Yeah. So thanks so much.
Yeah.
Happy holidays. Happy almost 2019.
Happy New Year.
And we will see you next year.
Yep.
Bye.